A while back I heard this story and was convicted by it of this older priest who went into prayer once and he heard the Lord tell him, "Once you loved me, now you just work for me." Where we get so caught up in the activity and in the work and in the ministry that you lost sight of what it is that you're doing anything to begin with. And I felt convicted this time around, not just by hearing it, but because I experienced it myself. And it was terrifying. And I don't want to experience that ever again. I went on a pilgrimage with Versati Catholic to Italy, and it was grace-filled, but you don't sleep in pilgrimage, so you can't expect to get any rest when you go on a pilgrimage. And then you come back, and I got kind of sinus infection, and then I'm trying to recover from that, and then you hit the ground running, so you're like, work, and ministry. And of course, what's the first thing that's going to fall to the wayside if you're not careful? And so prayer was not the priority of my day. And then I started feeling frustration and anger and resentment. I was actually bothered when people asked me for help. To serve people became tiresome. That was awful. And I pray the Lord help me not experience that ever again. Why? What happened? I lost sight. I lost communication with the one who made it all possible, worth it, who brought meaning to any of it. And that's what happens in our life. Our vocations, our marriages, our families, our work, our very lives, what's supposed to bring us hope and life and joy and fulfillment and meaning and purpose without God will bring everything but that. The gospel today, the Lord says, "I come to cast fire upon the earth and would that it were already kindled." Like the translation in our gospel from the book for Mass, it's a little more powerful image. I have come to set the earth on fire, and how I wish it were already blazing. What is that fire that Jesus speaks of? That's his heart. That's his love for us. We compare the heart of God to this blazing, burning furnace of charity and love. A blazing furnace of love for us. It's a fire that consumes with love. And that's what he wants to set loose on this earth. But it won't happen on this earth until it happens here first. It won't happen out there. It won't happen in my family, with my spouse, with my kids. It won't happen in my job, in my group of friends. It won't happen in this parish if it doesn't start here in our very hearts first. The communion that we have with God, that's what will set us on fire. And from that, our families, our marriages, our friend group, our work, our parish, this community, this city, this country, this world, our prayer, our encounter with the God who loves us. We need theological statements and we need dogma. Those are important and those are good because those keep us kind of like guardrails to keep us from falling away from the true faith. We need that. We need these fancy statements that tell us what is truth and what isn't. But you see, those fancy, beautiful statements of the faith don't change us. They don't move us. What does? An encounter with a person, an encounter with the living God himself, an encounter with love. That changes us. You won't be able to love until your heart is filled with love himself. And that happens in the intimacy and the quiet of prayer. That's where change happens. And it's only by that communion with the Lord that our life, our conversation with God in which we invite Him into our life, that then everything takes on a new meaning and purpose? Do we want our marriages changed? Do we want our marriages to be filled with the love of Christ, filled with hope and with life? Do we want our families to be beacons of love and homes of love? Do we want our work to have a meaning to it, that we can see in our work actually us laying down our lives for providing for our families, as opposed to this pointless thing that I have to go and do day in and day out? Do we want this parish to be a beacon of faith and hope? It starts in the intimacy and the quiet of prayer before the Lord. That's where it starts. That's where it has to start. When life gets hard, that's where we find hope, strength, courage. That's where we find Him, the one who loves us, that great burning furnace of love and charity that led Him to die for us.